You are welcome to today's episode of Formula for Everyday with the Formula Law.
Hi, welcome to today's episode of Formula for Everyday. I am your host, Laurent Nkwacha, the Formula Law. So today we're going to be looking at an interesting topic in digital creativity. As you know, we've been on digital creativity series, and today we're going to be looking specially at design. We're going to be looking at some basic elements of a very good design and how you could use it to attract attention on the digital space as you communicate your message and your intention to your target audience. So first of all, I want you to imagine that the world was in black and white. Imagine that the world was monochrome. There were no colors in the world. What do you think such world would have been like? Would it have been interesting? Would it have been fun? Would you have loved the things you loved right now? Or is it the colors of what you have that actually makes you to love them? Okay, first of all, I want you to know that there is a difference between learning on the job and actually understanding the theory of design. Most of us, with the advent of applications like Canva and some softwares that are very user-friendly, we've been able to delve easily into graphic design and other forms of design. There are applications available for creation of videos and some other digital content. So we need to understand the basics of design in order to be able to come up with more attractive products for our businesses and for our brand. As I said earlier on, there's a difference between learning on the job and actually understanding the theory of design. If you happen to be very proficient with some of the softwares like Canva or Photoshop or CorelDRAW, and you don't understand the basics of your design theory, like the workflow process and even the psychology of your target audience, then you find out that there will be a lot of issues with your design. Your designs will end up not looking professional enough. So if you happen to be an entrepreneur, you know that your primary goal will be to sell a product or service or promote your brand online. Therefore, if your aim of design will not convince your clients in order to be able to do that which you need them to do, then the aim of your design is totally defeated. So what you should know is that you are going to be creating your designs with reason. You need to, because people want to actually understand your concept. So you don't just do things because you feel it's going to look good. You're actually supposed to do things that have a reason behind it. So whenever you are creating your videos, the type of elements you attach to your videos, your designs, you need to ensure that they have reasons behind them. You follow basic design theory.
You are still listening to Formula for Everyday with the Formula Law. Stay tuned.
So first of all, in design theory, we'll be looking at color. Color is a major feature in any design. It's both applicable in videos and in still graphics. So in your motion graphics and your still graphics, the color you use for your layout is very important. So one very good point to note about color is that all colors are good, but not all color combinations are good. The choice of your colors will say a lot about your theme. So depending on the kind of message you want to pass across, the type of colors you use for your work will say a lot about the final rendition of your design. So my recommendation is that you select the entire color composition of your design based on your theme before you start. You need to know all the colors that you are going to use in your design. It's advisable for beginners that you choose to use 3 colors at most, because you need uniformity. The theory of colors is about the harmony it brings to the general work. So for beginners, it's advisable to use at most 3 colors. Then as you continue to advance to become a professional, then you can pick 5 colors maximum. The reason why you need a few colors is because design too is communication, and just like in everyday speech and conversation, you find out that those that come in with the punchlines, people prefer it when you give them punchlines instead of always beating around the bush. So if you use fewer colors in your design, it tends to communicate a clearer message than when you put too many colors in a design. Colors could be very distracting. Picking your color is the first great step, but knowing how to use your color is another important step. To ensure that your design has a very great outlook, you must understand contrast. So the concept is very simple. When you are placing a light text or image, it should be on a darker background for it to be more obvious. And when you are placing a dark text or image, it should be on a lighter background for it to have this contrast and be more obvious. So it's the same thing with the colors. Your darker colors should be on lighter colors as their layout, while your lighter colors should be on darker colors as their layout. So there are a lot of tools available for you to pick colors. You could actually use the Google search engine to Google some color combinations that you could use for your work. Then Adobe also has a very good software that can help you pick colors. It's called Adobe Color. So you could actually use Google or you could use Adobe Color. But the bottom line is that you should ensure that when you pick your colors, you're able to select it and stick to what you have. The bottom line is that when you pick your colors, you should be able to use them as a very good tool to achieve the message you want to pass across. You should be able to communicate your team effectively. Another basic element for a very good design outlook is your alignment. And your alignment simply means your arrangement of elements in your design. As I said earlier on, these principles apply both to the creation of videos, and that's motion graphics and still graphics. So your alignment, the importance of alignment for a design cannot be overemphasized. Now, as a general rule of life, things work better in an organized environment rather than in one that is characterized by extreme chaos. So organize your work based on the priority of importance. You must know what you really want your audience, or should I say your target market, to see in your design. So you know that as a general rule, your topic or the theme of your design should be very obvious and large. Should be very large enough. If there is an image to depict what you're trying to explain, then it should be also very bold, so that your audience can get to see a schematic representation of what you are about to communicate. Use of borders too is a very important practice, because it helps you to keep your work within due bounds. You don't step out of the bounds you've set for the design space you want to explore. Now, using negative space in your design is a very good practice, because negative space makes your design more friendly. Your viewers, or should I say your audience, are able to roll their eyes around the design more properly. Negative space is just simply the empty spaces. It's usually a white space, but if your layout happens not to be white, then the empty space where there is no element is what is called the negative space. So you should also know how people read, like how you read from left to right and from top to down. Nobody actually gets to start reading from down to top or from right to left, except in some few languages, but I'm actually referring to the English language right now.
You are still listening to Formula for Every Day with the Formula Law. Stay tuned.
So another basic element of good design is your font. So your font is a very important, because your font now is what communicates to your audience literally. Apart from the image you use to express your design, your font is what communicates to your readers literally. And your font doesn't need to have an extra message, because the entire aim of the whole design is that people don't get distracted from the central theme to what is not necessary. So as much as possible, use very simple fonts, and there are simple fonts available on many softwares, which include the sans serif and the serif fonts. The sans serif is SANS-SERIF. These two fonts are the most commonly used, and they are best suited for designs in order to communicate message, because because you know that your audience will want to understand the message you're trying to pass across. Apart from the art you place on your graphic design, people want to see and get information from what you have put together in order to be able to pass your message across. So it needs to be clear on the first outlook. It needs to be bold enough so that just on a glance one can actually tell a few things about your design. It needs to be bold enough, as I said, so that one doesn't need to strain in order to be able to get the message you're about to pass across. Apart from working on creative concept designs, I would recommend that you totally avoid the curvy font. The curvy font is actually of the script family, so you totally avoid the curvy font so that your message will be as clear as possible. So it's better to use the bold fonts and the bold fonts, which are the sans serif and the serif family fonts. So it's advisable that in a design you use one family of fonts. Especially as a beginner, use one family of fonts. You could use it in different forms like the italics, the bold italics, and all that. But one family of font is important for you to use that's when you're starting out. Then as you continue to grow and understand the rendition of design generally, you could start incorporating 2 fonts and a maximum of 3 fonts. That's depending on how complicated the design is. Lastly, I'll be looking at the principle of size and layout. The arrangement of your design needs to be in the hierarchy of how you want your audience to perceive the message you want to pass across. If the most important message is at the bottom of your design, then it's going to be a very huge problem because most of your audience might not get to see it. But putting your most important information at the top or the middle is a wiser decision to make that's the hierarchy of your design. So you should ensure that every important element gets the required attention, because it is obvious that if the right element is not situated at the proper place, then it's very possible that your design will poorly communicate your message and the theme for which it was put together. So knowing how to put the size of your various elements, like the image you're going to use for your design, if your design require an image, the sizes of your fonts, which include the main header, the sub header, and other very little details that needs to come. You need to arrange them according to their priority and importance. The most important elements are supposed to be the largest, and the elements that are less important are supposed to take a smaller size. Then in terms of layout, you need to know that the elements that are most important are supposed to have brighter colors and more contrast, while the elements that are not as important are supposed to be more dim. They are not supposed to be too shouty, so that your audience can get to concentrate more on the elements that require the much needed attention. So this is just a summary of the design in digital creativity. You could actually apply these principles in design of videos, like for very short videos for your video sales letters and short videos you put up for your business and other purposes online. You could use this principle for the graphic designs you do on Canva, Photoshop, CorelDRAW, and all other softwares that can design good graphics. So you could apply it to everything you do online. It's the basic concept. You need to understand the colors, the size and the layout, the alignment of every single design you want to make online. So by God's willing, we're going to be looking further at some very salient elements of design in subsequent episodes. But with this, we've come to the end of today's episode on Formula for Everyday. I remain your host, Lawrence Nkwocha. Thank you very much for tuning in today, and bye for now.
This podcast holds every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Thank you for listening to today's Roadside. Hope you learned something new. I would like you to join in on the next episode.